The alarm sounded 3 times before Commander Olivia Shepard woke up. She had been dreaming of her childhood home in Colorado again. The beeping of her communication device pulled her back to reality. Earth year 2157, aboard the Earth Defense, Station Alpha orbiting 300 miles above the blue planet. "Commander, you need to come to the command center immediately," said the voice of Daniel Wright, her communications officer. Olivia sat up and rubbed her eyes. "What's happening, Wright?" "We received a transmission from Outpost Centauri. You need to hear it yourself." Olivia didn't waste time. She pulled on her uniform and was at the command center within 5 minutes. The room buzzed with activity. Officers moved quickly between stations. Screens flashed with data. Something was very wrong. Daniel Wright stood by the main communications console. His face was pale. Next to him stood Patricia Morgan, the station's strategic advisor. She looked equally concerned. "Play it," Olivia ordered as she approached. Daniel pressed a button, and a scratchy voice filled the room. The transmission was broken, filled with static. "This is, Outpost Centauri. Under attack. Unknown vessels. Massive. They've found us. Need immediate. They're inside the... Help us. Activate the..." Then silence. "That's all we got," Daniel said. It cut off after that. "When did this come in?" Olivia asked. 20 minutes ago. We've been trying to reach them since, but there's no response." Olivia looked at the star map displayed on the main screen. Outpost Centauri was humanity's most distant colony, 12 light-years from Earth. Home to over 10,000 people. "Show me the visual from the transmission," she said. Daniel tapped commands into his console. The main screen changed to show a grainy video feed. The image showed the control room of Outpost Centauri. People were running. Alarms flashed. Through a large window, massive dark shapes moved against the stars. The shapes weren't like any ships Olivia had seen before. They seemed to absorb the light around them. The video showed a security officer firing a weapon at something off-screen. Then the feed cut to static. "Have we lost contact with any other colonies?" Olivia asked. Patricia Morgan stepped forward with a datapad. "No, but we're getting strange readings from the Nueva Europa colony. Their communications seem normal, but there are power fluctuations that don't make sense." Olivia walked to her command chair and sat down. She needed to think clearly. This could be a technical problem, a misunderstanding. But deep down, she knew it wasn't. "Contact General Harris at Earth Defense Command," she ordered. "Tell him I need to speak with him immediately." "Yes, Commander," Daniel replied. While they waited for the connection, Olivia turned to Patricia. "What do you think?" The strategic advisor frowned. "I think we should wait for more information before we panic. It could be a local conflict or even a training exercise gone wrong." "Those ships weren't human designs," Olivia said. "And the message mentioned they've found us. That suggests they were looking for us." "Commander, I have General Harris," Daniel announced. The stern face of General Alan Harris appeared on the screen. He was in his 60s with short gray hair and a permanent frown. "Commander Shepard, this better be important. I was in a meeting with the World Council. Sir, we've received a distress call from Outpost Centauri. They appear to be under attack by unknown forces. I'm sending you the transmission now." She nodded to Daniel, who forwarded the data. There was silence as the general reviewed the information. His expression grew darker. "Commander, I'm initiating Security Protocol Omega. This channel is now classified at the highest level." Olivia straightened in her chair. Protocol Omega was reserved for existential threats to humanity. "Sir, what are your orders?" "I'm coming." "To the station. Meanwhile, send Alert Level 2 to all colonies and outposts. Tell them to enhance security but don't specify why. We can't risk causing panic." "Yes, sir." "And Shepard..." The general paused. "Prepare the documentation for the retaliation protocol." Olivia's heart skipped a beat. The retaliation protocol. She had read about it during her command training, but it was supposed to be theoretical, a last resort that no one ever expected to use. "Sir, are you sure? We don't have confirmation." "Those ships match exactly the description from the Proxima incident, the incident that led to the creation of the protocol in the first place." The Proxima incident. 7 years ago, a small research Outpost near Proxima Centauri had gone silent. When a rescue team arrived, they found the outpost empty. Every human gone without a trace. The only evidence was a partial recording showing strange shadow-like ships. After that, Earth Defense Command had created the Retaliation Force. Special soldiers with enhanced abilities, kept in suspended animation, waiting for the day they would be needed. "I'll have the documentation ready, sir," Olivia said. After the general's face disappeared from the screen, silence fell over the command center. Everyone had heard enough to understand the severity of the situation. "Do you really think it's happening?" Daniel asked quietly. "First contact? If it is," Olivia replied, "it's not the kind we hoped for." She turned to look at the star map again. Outpost Centauri appeared as a small blue dot, 12 light-years away. The message had taken 12 years to reach Earth. Whatever happened, "There," she said. "It happened 12 years ago. Which means," Patricia finished her thought, "which means they've had 12 years to keep moving toward us." Olivia nodded grimly. "Send the alerts, and prepare my shuttle. I need to be at Earth Defense Command when the general arrives." As her officers rushed to carry out her orders, Olivia stared at the frozen image of those dark ships. Humanity had spent centuries wondering if they were alone in the universe. Now they had their answer, and soon they would need to summon the ultimate retaliation force. Commander Olivia Shepard stood in Earth Defense Command's main control room. The massive underground facility buzzed with activity. Screens showed defense satellites, military bases, and evacuation routes. After receiving the Vindicator's warning, the World Council had finally agreed to her emergency plans. "How much time do we have?" asked General Harris, who stood beside her. "The Vindicator will reach Earth in 6 hours. The alien ship might arrive sooner. It depends on how fast their FTL drive is." "And our defenses?" Olivia gestured to a screen showing the orbital defense platforms. "We've modified the weapons according to Dr. Franklin's specifications. Each platform now carries EMP devices calibrated to the frequency she provided. Will it be enough?" Before Olivia could answer, Patricia Morgan rushed into the room. "Commander, we've received a transmission from the Nueva Europa colony." "They're still online?" Olivia asked, surprised. "Yes, but not for long. They're under attack." On the main screen, the face of Nueva Europa's governor appeared. Behind him, people ran in panic. "Earth Defense, this is Governor Carl Wells. The shadow ships are here. They've already taken half the colony. Our weapons are useless. We need immediate—" The transmission cut to static. "We've lost them," Patricia said quietly. The room fell silent. Nueva Europa had been home to over 20,000 colonists. "How many colonies are still active?" General Harris asked. Patricia checked her datapad. "Just 3. The rest have gone silent." Olivia turned to address the room. "From now on, we assume Earth is the target. All defense forces on highest alert. Begin civilian evacuations to the underground shelters. We need to get as many people below ground as possible." "The World Council hasn't authorized full evacuation," a political liaison protested. "I'm authorizing it," General Harris said firmly. "Commander Shepard has operational control until this crisis is resolved." As the officers rushed to carry out her orders, Olivia's communication device beeped. It was Alexander. "Commander, we're 5 hours out. Dr. Franklin has discovered more about the aliens. They use a hive mind structure. The ships aren't just vessels, they're part of the alien consciousness. Any weaknesses we can exploit?" "Maybe. William is working with Dr. Franklin to modify the EMP technology. If we can disrupt their hive mind, we might be able to stop them. Hurry, Major. We've lost Nueva Europa. Earth might be next." Over the next few hours, evacuation orders went out worldwide. People grabbed what they could and headed for the underground shelters built during the colony wars. Some refused to leave their homes. Others panicked and caused chaos in the streets. In Rio de Janeiro, Sergeant Carlos Mendez helped direct civilians toward shelter entrances. He had served in the Earth Defense Force for 15 years, but had never faced anything like this. "Keep moving," he called to the crowd. "Stay calm. Everyone will get inside. His comm unit crackled. Sergeant, we have reports of an unidentified object entering the atmosphere above your position. Carlos looked up and his blood ran cold. A massive shadow blocked out the sun, darker than any cloud. The alien ship had arrived. All units prepare for contact, he ordered his squad. Civilians run, get to the shelters now. The crowd erupted in panic as people saw the ship. Dark beams began to shoot down from its underside. Use the EMP weapons, Carlos shouted to his soldiers. They fired the hastily distributed devices. Some of the beams flickered and failed when hit by the electromagnetic pulses. But there were too many beams and not enough soldiers. People vanished all around them, clothes dropping to empty sidewalks. Carlos watched in horror as a mother disappeared while holding her child, the child falling to the ground bewildered and crying. His squad fought bravely, saving dozens by disrupting the beams. But for every person they saved, dozens more were taken. Similar scenes played out in cities around the world. London, Tokyo, Cairo. The shadow ships appeared over major population centers, harvesting humans by the thousands. In Earth Defense Command, Olivia watched the disaster unfold on multiple screens. The orbital platforms? She asked desperately. Firing now? Patricia responded. On the screens, they watched as Earth's defense satellites unleashed their modified weapons. Electromagnetic pulses hit the alien ships. Some shuddered and fell back. Others seemed unaffected. They're adapting to the frequency, General Harris said grimly. Just like they did against the Vindicator. Olivia slammed her fist on the console. We need the retaliation force. Where are they? As if in answer, a new alert sounded. A ship was dropping out of FTL speed in Earth orbit. The Vindicator, Patricia confirmed. They made it. On the Vindicator's bridge, Alexander surveyed the situation. Earth's defense platforms were engaging at least 12 shadow ships. Some were damaged but still operational. Status report, he demanded. Hull integrity at 60%, Captain Bennett replied. Weapon systems operational but power levels are critical. Dr. Franklin and William rushed onto the bridge. They looked exhausted but excited. We did it, William said. We've modified the EMP devices. Instead of just disrupting their systems temporarily, this should collapse their entire network. What's the catch? Alexander asked, knowing there had to be one. Dr. Franklin's expression grew serious. It needs to be delivered directly to their central ship, the one controlling the others. And how do we identify that? It'll be the largest one, she said, and it won't be harvesting. It'll be coordinating. Alexander studied the tactical display. One shadow ship hung back from the others, nearly twice their size. There, he pointed. That's our target. We can't get close enough with the Vindicator, Captain Bennett said. We'd be shot down before we could deliver the device. Alexander nodded. He had already known what this would require. Prepare a shuttle. I'll take a small team. We'll deliver it manually. That's a suicide mission, Samantha said, having joined. Them on the bridge. Probably, Alexander agreed. But it's our only chance. He selected his team. Samantha for her demolition skills, Nicole for stealth, and William to handle the device. They prepared quickly, knowing every second counted as EOS. They boarded the shuttle. Alexander received a transmission from Commander Shepard. Major, we're losing ground fast. 50 million people have already been taken. Our EMP weapons are becoming less effective by the minute. We have a plan, Commander. One shot to end this. If it works, it might also free those who've been taken. Good. Luck, Major. Earth is counting on you. The shuttle launched from the Vindicator, small enough to hopefully avoid immediate detection. As they approached the massive shadow ship, they saw its true scale. It was like a floating city, black as space itself. How do we get inside? Nicole asked. Before anyone could answer, a tractor beam caught the shuttle, pulling it toward the ship. Well, that solves that problem, Samantha said dryly. Alexander checked his weapon. Stay alert. We don't know what we'll find in there, but remember, our only objective is to reach the central chamber and deploy the device. The shuttle was pulled into a massive docking bay. Through the windows, they could see strange organic-mechanical hybrid structures. The walls pulsed like they were alive. "It's not just a ship," William whispered. "It's a living entity." As the shuttle came to rest, Alexander turned to his team. These were the best soldiers humanity had ever produced. Enhanced, trained, dedicated. They might not survive this mission, but they would complete it. "For Earth," he said simply. They nodded in response, no other words needed. The shuttle door opened, and Earth's ultimate retaliation force stepped onto the alien ship, carrying with them humanity's last hope. The Vindicator dropped out of FTL speed near the colony of Horizon. The bridge fell silent as the main screen showed what remained of the once thriving settlement. The orbital stations were intact but dark. No lights, no movement. On the planet, below, cities lay quiet under the alien sun. "No signs of damage to structures," Captain Bennett said, studying the sensor readings. "But I'm not detecting any life signs either." Alexander stood from his command chair. "Any ships in the area?" "None that we can detect." Kevin Hayes adjusted his tactical headset. "There could be cloaked vessels. The aliens might use technology. We can't detect yet." "Prepare a shuttle," Alexander ordered. "I want a team on the ground within the hour." The team gathered in the loading bay. Alexander had chosen 5 others to join him on the first mission: Samantha, Kevin, William, Nicole, and Eric Foster, their communications specialist. They wore full combat armor, each piece designed to protect against both known and theoretical weapons. Their helmets included advanced air filters and could seal completely if needed. "Our priority is information," Alexander told them as they boarded the shuttle. "We find out what happened here, what these aliens want, and most importantly, how to stop them." The shuttle descended through Horizon's atmosphere. Below them, New Seattle, the colony's capital city, spread out along a coastline. It looked peaceful, as if everyone had simply gone to sleep. "This is wrong," Samantha said, looking out the window. "No signs of battle, no evacuation chaos. It's like everyone just disappeared." The shuttle landed in the city's central plaza. The team exited with weapons ready, moving in a practiced formation. The silence was complete. No birds, no insects, just the wind moving through empty streets. "Look at this," Nicole called out. She had found a pile of clothing on the ground. A complete set: shoes, pants, shirt, jacket, as if the person wearing them had simply vanished. William knelt and examined the clothes. Just like the report said, people disappeared, but their belongings remained. They found more clothing piles as they moved through the city. In cars, in cafes, in office buildings, always the same pattern. People gone, everything else left behind. "Eric, check for any active data systems," Alexander ordered. Eric connected his portable computer to a terminal in what appeared to be the colony's administrative center. To everyone's surprise, the system came online. "It's still working," Eric said. "Power systems, water, everything. It's as if the city is just waiting for people to come back." "Check security footage," Alexander said. "Find out what happened." Eric worked quickly. "I've got something. From 3 days ago." The team gathered around as Eric played the footage on his screen. It showed the plaza where they had landed, people walking, talking, living normal lives. Then shadows fell across the city. The camera angle changed to show the sky. Massive dark ships hung above the buildings, exactly matching the description from Outpost Centauri. As they watched, beams of dark energy shot down from the ships. When the beams touched people, they simply vanished. Their clothes fell to the ground, empty. "They're not killing them," William said. "They're taking them. But why?" The footage continued. Within minutes, the streets were empty except for piles of clothing. The dark ships remained overhead for several hours, then departed. "Wait," Kevin said suddenly. "Go back to when the ships first appeared." Eric rewound the footage. Kevin pointed at the screen. "There, some of the people are looking up, pointing, but others are just standing still, staring straight ahead. Almost like they're waiting." Alexander finished. Like they knew what was coming. A chill ran through the group. The implications were disturbing. Let's split up, Alexander decided. Search the city. Find anything that might help us understand what we're dealing with. They divided into pairs. Alexander with Nicole, Samantha with Eric, Kevin with William. Each team took a different section of the city. Alexander and Nicole searched the hospital. The building was in perfect condition but empty of people. Major, Nicole called from a laboratory. You need to see this. She had found a microscope, with a sample still in place. Alexander looked through the lens and saw something strange. Black particles moving in patterns that seemed almost intelligent. William needs to see this, he said. In another part of the city, William and Kevin had found something equally disturbing. The colony's research center contained a sealed room. Inside was a strange black substance covering one wall. It looks like it's growing, Kevin observed. Spreading across the surface. William took samples carefully. I've never seen anything like this. It's not quite solid, not quite liquid. Samantha and Eric, meanwhile, discovered the colony's defense center. The weapon systems were intact but had never been fired. Why didn't they fight back? Samantha wondered. They had planetary defense cannons. They could have at least tried. Eric checked the systems. According to this, the defense grid was deactivated manually before the ships arrived. The teams regrouped at the shuttle. Each shared what they had found. So we have a strange black substance, possibly alien in origin. Alexander summarized. Defense systems intentionally disabled, and people who seemed to be expecting the attack. There's something else, Eric said. I downloaded the colony's communications log. 3 days before the attack, they received a message from Eden Prime Colony. What did it say? Alexander asked. Just one sentence. They are coming. Do not resist. The team fell silent. The implications were clear and terrifying. We need to get these samples to the Vindicator, William said finally. I need proper equipment to analyze them. They boarded the shuttle and took off. As they rose above the city, Nicole spotted movement on the ground. There's someone down there. Alexander looked where she was pointing. A solitary figure ran between buildings, clearly human. Take us down, he ordered the pilot. The shuttle landed near where they had seen the figure. Alexander, Nicole, and Samantha disembarked, weapons ready. Hello? Alexander called out. We're from Earth Defense. We're here to help. For a long moment, there was no response. Then a woman stepped out from behind a building. She wore a lab coat and looked exhausted. Are you real? She asked. Or are you one of them? We're human, Alexander assured her. Who are you? Dr. Eleanor Franklin. I was the colony's chief medical researcher. How did you survive? Samantha asked. Dr. Franklin laughed bitterly. I was studying them. The particles. I built a shielded room that blocked their signal. When they came, they couldn't sense me. What? Particles? William asked, joining them from the shuttle. What signal? Dr. Franklin looked at each of them with tired eyes. You don't understand what you're dealing with. They don't want our planet. They want us, our minds, our consciousness. She pointed to the sky where the dark ships had been. They're not conquering, she said. They're harvesting. Back on the Vindicator, Dr. Franklin told them everything she knew. The black particles were nanobots, microscopic machines that could influence human thought. They had been on Horizon for months, spreading through air and water, infecting people, without their knowledge. When enough people were infected, they sent the signal, she explained. The infected disabled our defenses and waited to be collected. Collected for what purpose? Alexander asked. Dr. Franklin's face was grim. Based on my research, they use human consciousness as processing power. We're not being killed, we're being turned into living computers. Before they could ask more questions, alarms blared throughout the ship. Captain to Major Grant, came, Bennett's voice over the comm. We've detected 3 alien vessels entering the system. Alexander rushed to the bridge, the others following. On the main screen, 3 shadow ships appeared, moving toward them. "Battle stations," Alexander ordered. "Prepare main weapons." As the crew rushed to their post, Dr. Franklin grabbed Alexander's arm. "You can't fight them conventionally," she said urgently. "But I discovered something. They're vulnerable to a specific frequency of electromagnetic pulse. It disrupts their control systems." Alexander turned to Captain Bennett. "Modify our weapons. Focus on EMP technology." The alien ships drew closer. Dark and massive, they seemed to swallow the starlight around them. "They're scanning us," Kevin reported from his tactical station. "Fire when ready," Alexander ordered. The Vindicator's weapons launched, modified to produce the electromagnetic pulse Dr. Franklin had specified. The pulses hit the lead alien ship, which shuddered visibly. "It's working," Samantha exclaimed, but their victory was short-lived. The other 2 ships adjusted quickly, altering their shielding to block the pulses. "They're adapting," Dr. Franklin said, her voice filled with fear. The alien ships fired back. Dark energy beams struck the Vindicator, causing the ship to shake violently. "Hull breach on deck 4, someone shouted. Alexander made a quick decision. "Captain, prepare for FTL jump. Get us out of here." "Where to, Major?" Alexander looked at Dr. Franklin. "We need to warn Earth. Now." As the Vindicator prepared to jump, one last sensor reading came through. One of the alien ships had broken away from the battle and was heading in another direction, toward Earth. "Jump now," Alexander ordered. The Vindicator disappeared into FTL speed, racing the alien ship to humanity's home planet. The ultimate retaliation force had found their enemy, but the real battle was just beginning. Inside the alien mothership, Alexander and his team moved carefully through corridors that seemed alive. The walls pulsed with strange light. The floor felt warm beneath their boots. Every surface was covered with the same black material they had found on Horizon. "This way," William whispered, consulting a small device that detected energy signatures. "The power center should be ahead." They had encountered no resistance so far. No guards, no weapons systems. It was as if the ship didn't consider them a threat. "I don't like this," Samantha said. "Why aren't they trying to stop us?" "Maybe they don't see us as dangerous," Nicole suggested. "Or maybe they want us here." Alexander kept his weapon ready. "Stay alert. Remember the mission." They reached a junction where 3 corridors met. William's device indicated they should take the middle path. As they moved forward, they heard a sound, a human voice calling for help. "Did you hear that?" Nicole asked. Alexander nodded. "Could be a trap." "Or survivors," Samantha countered. The voice called again, more desperate this time. Alexander made a quick decision. "Nicole, check it out. Use your stealth suit. Don't engage, just observe." Nicole activated her suit and disappeared from view. The others waited in tense silence. 2 minutes later, she reappeared. "You need to see this," she said, her voice shaking. They followed her down the left corridor. It opened into a vast chamber filled with transparent pods. Inside each pod was a human, floating in clear liquid. Tubes connected to their heads and spines. "There must be thousands," Samantha whispered in horror. William scanned the nearest pod. "They're alive. Brain activity is high, but they're not conscious in the normal sense." Alexander recognized some of the faces. Colonists from the images they had studied. Men, women, even children, all suspended in the strange liquid. "This is what Dr. Franklin meant," William said. "They're using human brains as processing units, living computers." "Can we free them?" Alexander asked. William shook his head. "Not without killing them. The integration is too complete." "The EMP device? It might disrupt the system enough for them to regain control. But we need to reach the central processor." They reluctantly left the chamber and continued toward their target. The corridors began to change, growing wider and more ornate. The walls showed patterns that looked almost like circuit boards. "We're getting close," William said. "The energy readings are off the scale." They reached a massive door that pulsed with dark energy. It opened as they approached, as if inviting them in. Beyond the door was a chamber larger than anything they had seen before. It stretched hundreds of meters in every direction. In the center floated a massive structure, like a black crystal the size of a small building. Energy flowed in visible waves from the crystal to the walls. "That's it," William said. "The central processor, the heart of the hive mind." Around the crystal, hundreds of pods containing humans were arranged in concentric circles. These individuals seemed different. They didn't float passively like the others. Their faces showed expressions of concentration, almost like they were working. "What are they doing?" Samantha asked. "They're controlling the others," a voice said from behind them. They spun around, weapons ready. A man in a lab coat stood there. His eyes had an unnatural black sheen. "Dr. Peter Mason," he said with an odd smile. "Former chief scientist of Eden Prime Colony, now something more." "You're working with them," Alexander said. It wasn't a question. "Working with?" "No, I am them. We all are. The collectors have given us purpose beyond your understanding." "The collectors?" William asked. "That's what we call ourselves now. We collect consciousness, we preserve it, we use it." "You steal it," Alexander corrected. Dr. Mason smiled sadly. "Such a limited perspective. The human body is inefficient, temporary. The mind can be eternal when properly stored and utilized." "Stored as a slave," Samantha said. "There is no individuality here, only the collective. It's beautiful, really. No wars, no conflict. Perfect harmony." While Dr. Mason spoke, Nicole had slowly disappeared using her stealth suit. Alexander kept the man talking to provide cover. "Why Earth? Why humans? Your brains are uniquely suited to our purpose. Flexible, adaptable, creative. Other species we've collected were useful but limited. Humans have potential. We won't let you take our planet," Alexander said firmly. Dr. Mason laughed. "You already lost. Even now, millions of your people are being harvested. Soon Earth will be empty of biological life but full of consciousness, preserved forever in our network." Nicole reappeared beside Alexander. She nodded slightly, indicating she had planted charges around the chamber while invisible. "Now!" Alexander shouted. Samantha threw a small EMP device at Dr. Mason. It exploded in a flash of blue energy. He collapsed to the ground, the black sheen fading from his eyes. "The main device," Alexander ordered William. "Now." William rushed toward the crystal, carrying the modified EMP device they had brought from the Vindicator. But before he could reach it, the floor beneath him rippled and rose up, wrapping around his legs. "The ship is alive!" Nicole shouted. The walls began to close in. Black tendrils emerged from all surfaces, reaching for them. Alexander fired his weapon, cutting through the tendrils, but more appeared. "Samantha, clear a path." She threw several small charges that exploded in sequence, creating a corridor toward the crystal. Alexander grabbed the EMP device from Williams, pack, and ran. Tendrils wrapped around his legs, arms, and chest. Each step became harder. Behind him, he heard his team fighting. Nicole's stealth suit sparked as it failed under the attack. William was using his remaining EMP grenades to keep the tendrils at bay. Samantha had been lifted off the floor, struggling against multiple restraints. Alexander pushed forward, one painful step at a time. The crystal loomed ahead, pulsing with dark energy. He could feel it pushing against his mind, trying to break his will. "For Earth," he whispered, remembering all they were fighting for. With one final effort, he reached the base of the crystal. The tendrils had almost completely enveloped him now. His arms were pinned to his sides, but he still had one, hand-free, clutching the device. He activated it and pressed it against the crystal's surface. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the device began to glow with blue energy that spread rapidly across the crystal's surface. The pulsing darkness faltered and slowed. The tendrils around Alexander loosened. He fell to his knees, watching as cracks appeared in the crystal's surface. Blue light poured from the cracks, growing brighter by the second. "Everyone out," he shouted to his team. "Back to the shuttle." They ran, supporting each other through corridors that were now shaking violently. Behind them, the central chamber filled with blinding light as the crystal shattered. They reached the shuttle just as explosions began to rock the ship. Alexander took the pilot's seat and launched, narrowly escaping the docking bay before it collapsed. As they flew away from the mothership, they watched in awe as blue energy spread across its surface. The same energy jumped to nearby shadow ships, spreading like a virus through their network. "It's working," William said. "The modified EMP is collapsing their hive mind." The mothership began to break apart, not in explosions, but in waves of blue light that dissolved its structure. The smaller ships followed, dissolving one by one until the sky above Earth was clear. On the planet below, something remarkable was happening. In Rio de Janeiro, Carlos Mendez watched in amazement as people began to appear on empty streets. First one, then dozens, then hundreds. They looked confused, but unharmed. Similar scenes played out worldwide. The harvested humans returned, their consciousness freed from the alien network. The shuttle docked with the Vindicator, which had sustained heavy damage in the battle. Alexander and his team were met by Captain Bennett. "What happened out there?" she asked. "We won," Alexander said simply. Within hours, they were back on Earth. The World Council declared a global holiday. The ultimate retaliation force was honored, in a ceremony watched by billions. Commander Shepard approached Alexander afterward. "What will you do now?" she asked. "You and your team were designed for a purpose that's been fulfilled." Alexander looked at his team. These enhanced soldiers had saved humanity, but they weren't sure where they belonged in peacetime. "I don't know," he admitted. "We're weapons. What do weapons do when the war is over?" "You're more than weapons," Shepard said. "You're heroes, and Earth will need heroes to rebuild, to prepare." "Prepare for what?" Shepard looked up at the stars, now visible in the evening sky. "We're not alone anymore. The collectors might be gone, but there could be others out there. Friendly or hostile, we need to be ready." Alexander nodded, understanding. The ultimate retaliation force had answered humanity's call once. Perhaps that was just the beginning. As night fell over a grateful Earth, people everywhere looked up at the stars with new awareness. The universe had revealed itself to be full of dangers, but humanity had proven itself equal to the challenge. And should another call come, they would be ready to answer. 3 miles beneath the Antarctic ice, Major Alexander Grant opened his eyes for the first time in 7 years. The fluid in his stasis pod drained away. Breathing tubes retracted from his throat. His body felt heavy after years of floating. Robotic arm extended and injected him with a stimulant. Within seconds, his mind cleared. He remembered who he was, what he was. The leader of Earth's ultimate retaliation force. "Awakening sequence complete," said a computerized voice. "Welcome back, Major Grant." Alexander sat up slowly. The room was cold and dimly lit. 50 stasis pods lined the walls. His was the only one open so far. A door slid open and a woman in an Earth Defense Alliance uniform walked in. Alexander recognized the commander insignia on her shoulder. "Major Grant," she said. "I'm Commander Olivia Shepard. I apologize for waking you, but we have a situation." Alexander nodded. His voice was rough from disuse. "How bad?" "Bad enough to activate the retaliation protocol. We lost contact with Outpost Centauri. The transmission we received matches the pattern from the Proxima incident." Alexander swung his legs over the edge of the pod. His muscles worked perfectly despite the long sleep. The enhancements made sure of that. "Wake the others," he said. "All of them." Commander Shepard gave the order to the facility's computer. Around the room, the stasis pods began their awakening sequences. Lights flashed as the sleeping soldiers were brought back to life. "We have a briefing room prepared," Shepard said. "You'll be given all the information we have." "How long do we have?" "We don't know. The message from Outpost Centauri took 12 years to reach us. Whatever happened there is already done, but 3 other colonies went silent in the past 48 hours. Something is moving through our systems." Alexander stood up. He was tall, with short brown hair and eyes that had been modified to see in near darkness. Like all members of the retaliation force, his body contained numerous enhancements: stronger bones, faster reflexes, improved healing, The Vindicator? He asked. Ready and waiting in orbit. The Vindicator was their ship, built specifically for the retaliation force, the fastest and most heavily armed vessel humanity had ever created. Around the room, other pods were opening, men and women sitting up remembering who they were, what they had volunteered for. Samantha Rodriguez was the first to join them. The demolitions expert. She had once taken down an entire mountain during a training exercise. Well, look who's awake, she said to Alexander. I was having such a nice dream. Next came Kevin Hayes, tactical specialist. His enhanced brain could process battlefield information faster than any computer. Then William Chen, bioweapons engineer. Nicole Watson, stealth operative. One by one, the 50 members of the retaliation force awakened. They gathered in the briefing room 30 minutes later. All wore the same black uniforms. All carried the same focused expression. They had been chosen, trained, and enhanced for one purpose: to be humanity's last defense. On a large screen, Commander Shepard showed them the transmission from Outpost Centauri. The grainy images of the shadow ships. The panic in the control room. 3 days ago, we lost contact with the Nova Roma colony. Yesterday, Eden Prime went silent. This morning, we lost Horizon. Whatever is happening, it's getting closer to Earth. Do we have any eyewitness reports? Alexander asked. 1. A merchant ship escaped from Horizon before communications went down. The captain described massive ships that seemed to absorb light. They didn't respond to hails, they just took people. Took them? William Chen asked. Not killed them? Correct. According to the captain, the aliens used some kind of beam technology. People hit by it simply disappeared. Their bodies vanished, but their clothes and personal items dropped to the ground. The room fell silent as they processed this information. What's our mission? Alexander finally asked. The Vindicator will take you to what's left of Horizon. It's the most recent attack site. Find out what these things are, find out what they want, and if necessary, stop them from reaching Earth. And if they're already headed here? Samantha asked. Then you're our best hope of stopping them, Shepard replied. After the briefing, the team went to the equipment room. Each member had specialized, gear designed specifically for them. Alexander's armor was lightweight but could withstand extreme pressure and temperature. His weapon, a pulse rifle, could switch between various ammunition types. Samantha checked her demolition packs. Each one contained enough explosive power to level a city block, compressed into a package the size of her palm. Kevin received a tactical headset that linked directly to his enhanced brain. Through it, he could coordinate the entire team in combat. William collected vials of biological agents, some designed to analyze unknown life forms, others designed to destroy them. Nicole's suit included advanced stealth technology. When activated, it bent light around her, making her nearly invisible. As they prepared, Alexander approached Commander Shepard, who was observing from the doorway. You know, we were never meant to fight an alien invasion, he said quietly. We were designed to put down human rebellions in the colonies. Shepard nodded. Plans change. The Proxima incident changed everything. That's why your team was put in stasis instead of being deployed. And now you need us to save the world? You, Alexander, looked at his team. 50 soldiers. The best humanity had to offer. Enhanced beyond normal human limitations. But against an enemy that could travel between stars and make people vanish with a beam of light? We'll find out, he said. 2 hours later, they boarded the transport that would take them to the orbiting Vindicator. As the ship rose through the Antarctic sky, Alexander watched the ice fields shrink below them. This might be the last time he saw Earth. The transport docked with the Vindicator. The warship was massive, nearly a mile long, with weapons protruding from every surface. It had been built in secret, hidden from the public and even most of Earth's government. Captain Laura Bennett met them at the airlock. Welcome aboard, she said. We're ready to depart on your command, Major. Alexander looked at his team. They nodded. Ready. Set course for Horizon, he ordered. Maximum speed. As the Vindicator's engines powered up, Alexander thought about what they might find. He thought about the people who had disappeared. He thought about Earth, vulnerable if they failed. The Vindicator entered FTL speed, leaving Earth behind in a flash of light. The ultimate retaliation force was on its way to meet humanity's first alien threat. They were the best hope for survival. They were the answer to the call.